Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out Kusan Cuisine in San Jose and trying Uyghur food for the first time. Uyghur people come from the northwestern area of China and they're one of the 55 ethnic minority groups recognized in China. They are Turkic speaking and Muslim, so that means that all of their food is halal, so this will also be my first time trying halal food. Without a doubt, Uyghur food is definitely the rarest cuisine I've ever tried, and I'm really surprised that they even have a Uyghur restaurant in the Bay Area, let alone in San Jose, so let's go. This is gonna be epic. I made it here to Kusan Cuisine, and I got a bit carried away since I got 10 different dishes because I wanted to try a variety of items. But the first thing I want to start off with is our drink, and this is their homemade yogurt drink, and I got the yuzu and honey flavor. Alright, here we go. I'm looking forward to this. It looks really thick and rich. Oh, that is delicious. It's so rich and cold and refreshing. Even though it's a rainy day, for some reason it still tastes really delicious. It almost reminds me of like a slightly thinner and blended up Greek yogurt because it's got that really rich and heavy and slightly tangy yogurty flavor. And then there's also some little pieces of fresh yuzu in there as well. In a way, this almost reminds me of like a mango lassi without the mango, just like a yogurty base, just with all the yuzu in there. And this is an amazing drink. Although it is very rich, this is so satisfying. They're actually really fast with all their food, and already a whole bunch of the food I ordered has come out, but I want to start off with one of the appetizers. This is their mashed eggplant, and I was really curious because one of the ingredients in the description is prickly pepper oil. Here we go, looks like it's going to be a little bit on the spicy side. This is deliciously simple. It's just like a cold, refreshing eggplant dish. It tastes like it's been mixed in with plenty of chili oil, but it's not so overwhelmingly spicy where it's painful. And what I do love is the taste of the roasted garlic in there. There's so much rich garlic flavor. Now I'm gonna go for my second appetizer, which is the samsa, which is a pastry filled with ground lamb. Wow, this has me blown away. This is ridiculous. The outside is like a crispy and slightly doughy bread. It's so satisfying to bite into. And inside, it's filled with juicy lamb. And what I appreciate about the lamb is it's hand minced. So you get a really beautiful texture. And it almost just tastes like little tiny cubes of fresh, juicy lamb meat. And I hate to use this as a comparison, but this is almost like a Uyghur Hot Pocket. Next, I want to try one of the most famous Uyghur dishes, which is the long mon, which are lamb noodles. It is basically like a lamb meat stir-fry mixture on top of hand-pulled noodles. Let's go for a bite of this. This is one of my most anticipated dishes. Wow, this is ridiculous. This is just incredible. Some of the best noodles I've ever had, and this is easily the chewiest noodles I've ever had. And I've had a lot of noodles over the years. They got just such a perfect, chewy, bouncy texture, and it's really easy to tell that they're hand-pulled and handmade. It is so vibrant in flavor as well. The first thing I taste is the burst of acidity from all the tomato stock and tomato base they use in here. And I love the fattiness of the lamb as well, because they use a really fatty, rich cut of lamb, but that is totally balanced out by just the really rich and heavy acidity of this dish, and it goes so well with that just chewy texture of the noodles. I mean, this is an amazing dish. I mean, look at this. It's literally like as big as my head, but I really just want to dig into this and eat the entire dish because it's that good. Now let's go for the rice pilaf. This is a mixture of chopped up lamb, and there's also some chopped up bell peppers, and it's all served over rice. Once again, this knocks it out of the park. It's a delicious pilaf. The rice really tastes like it's been cooked with like a rich bone broth of some sorts, probably lamb. And then you have the fresh, fatty pieces of lamb on top of it. And mixed in there, you get some little pieces of bell pepper, which adds a really pleasant sweetness. Next, I'll be trying out the golden crispy lamb rib. And this is another one of their signature dishes. And this is just like a roasted lamb rib made with their signature barbecue seasoning. Oh, this is awesome. And I could totally see why this is one of their signature dishes. Again, they use really fatty cuts of lamb, which I love, because I find lamb in general can be sometimes a very lean meat, but not here. I really love how they utilize the skin and roast it, because it takes on a really crispy texture. It almost reminds me of like Peking duck in a way. And then I love the barbecue seasoning as well. It just tastes very simple, like a little bit of cumin, but I feel like it is lacking a tiny bit, which is why they give you a little bit of extra barbecue seasoning on the side. So I want to try some dip in this. Let's just give this a little dip in this bright red sort of chili powder seasoning. This seasoning is magical, it really is. This stuff is fire because it just tastes like a slight mixture of Szechuan peppercorns and some salt, as well as the cumin. So it tastes actually a little bit different, a little bit more spicy, a little bit more vibrant than the meat itself. And this is actually really needed because I love just the extra salt and seasoning on here. You kind of get that slightly tingly property of the Szechuan peppercorns in your tongue as you eat it. Next, I'll be trying out their grilled naan, and I feel like this just goes really well with the grilled lamb rib because it looks like it's the same seasoning on the naan. Oh yeah, the grilled naan is delicious. It just tastes like it's grilled with the same seasoning as the lamb. It's a little bit spicy, and I love this sort of crispy exterior and doughy interior of the naan. And this is going to be the perfect thing to just eat with some of the lamb. I feel like you get a bite of lamb and then a bite of naan, and it's just heaven. Now I'm going to go for their lamb skewer, and this looks like super awesome. I mean, they just give you this sharp, like metal skewer. It almost looks like a spear, and then you have like the little pieces of lamb just on here, and I'm looking forward to this. Let's just carefully get a bite of this. Hopefully I don't accidentally impale my mouth in the process. Wow, this is tasty, but this is crazy spicy. You gotta be real careful with this if you can't handle your spice. In fact, my mouth is still burning. I gotta get a little sip of my yogurt drink. And actually, it doesn't even really help that much. I know yogurt usually helps cool down the spice, but this has just such a long, slow burn. Your mouth will be burning for ages, but wow, is it delicious. At first, I got the delicious taste of smoky grilled lamb. I mean, this tastes very tender and juicy, but also tastes like it's heavily smoked. So I really love that intense barbecue flavor, which I didn't really get so much with that lamb rib I had earlier. This definitely has that more like iconic sort of Mongolian barbecue-like flavor. And I love the seasoning on here. It tastes like cumin, and it tastes like more of an intense and chili-forward spicy seasoning versus the other one I had earlier. I mean, this just burns for ages. This is really potent, but man, if you can handle the heat, I would recommend trying this. You just gotta make sure you have a really large cup full of that yogurt drink on the side. Now I made it to my final entree. This is the big plate chicken, which is another famous Uyghur dish. It is giant cubes of chicken, and then it's also in a broth, and it's served over very thick and wide noodles, and I assume that they're hand-pulled as well. This big plate chicken definitely lives up to the name because there's huge cubes of chicken, so I'm just gonna get a bite of chicken and try that first before getting the noodles, since it's way too big to eat both at the same time. Wow, the chicken is amazing. It's really welcome to have something a little bit different than lamb. I mean, I love lamb, but it's nice because this is a fatty chicken, so this tastes like chicken thigh, and then it's soaked in a broth, which is a very rich and flavorful, meaty broth, and it tastes like there's a little bit of chilies in here, but it's just a bit, much less than the other ones, so it's just enough to give it a little kick without overwhelming the flavors. And this is lovely, but I really want to try the white noodles next, because I think that's going to be even better than the chicken. Oh yeah, these noodles are delicious. They're slightly less chewy than the noodles I had earlier in the long man, and I think that's because they're a little bit on the thinner side and they're not quite as thick. However, they are still very wide, which means they have a great surface area, so it absorbs all that broth, which also makes it a bit softer. I actually don't mind it because it is still chewy, and it's pleasantly chewy in that. And I love the flavor because it is quite spicy. I definitely taste more of the cumin spices now and more of the chili peppers. So actually, this is sort of like a medium spicy level when you eat the noodles since it soaks up all that broth. But if you get it with some of the meat, and also there's some veggies in here, there's a little bit of bell pepper, and there's also some potato. So if you just eat it all together, it is so delicious. I mean, I just love the variety in this dish. Finally, I decided to order one dessert since it's my first time trying Uyghur food, so I got their yogurt, and it's topped off with tons of honey as well as some sliced almonds. Wow, this just looks like one crazy sweet and nutty bite. Oh, this is delicious. The yogurt reminds me of the same homemade yogurt that they use in their drink, except this one's a little bit thicker. And the first thing I taste though is the honey because it is very sweet. If you like very sweet desserts, you'll probably enjoy this. And I also love the crunchy almonds on top too. They have such a fun texture to contrast with the really smooth richness of the yogurt. And personally, I do love honey, so this really is the perfect dessert for me. This was such a feast, and I really enjoyed trying Uyghur food for the first time. I loved the variety of different things I got. I mean, I had their big chicken, I had lamb noodles, and I had roasted lamb skewers. Everything was so delicious, but I'm gonna say my top three were the long mian, which were the tomatoey lamb noodles. I also love the big plate chicken served over those extra wide noodles, and finally I enjoyed the crispy lamb rib, which was just crispy and delicious. This was seriously incredible. I loved my first experience trying Uyghur food. It's so unique and it's unlike anything I've had before, so if you've never had Uyghur food before, which I'm sure probably almost all of you haven't, you definitely gotta head to Kusan Cuisine and check it out because I think they do their Uyghur food so great here. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.